What if your mind isn't meant to fight stress, but to flow through it? Every day, we're bombarded by deadlines, expectations, endless to-do lists. And even when the world quiets down, our minds keep racing, playing worries on a loop, analyzing, anticipating, never truly resting. We chase peace like it's something we have to earn. But what if peace isn't something you find, it's something you uncover? In this video, we'll explore the Buddhist approach to mindfulness, a practice designed to bring balance, clarity, and a lasting sense of calm into your life. You'll learn how to understand why stress feels overwhelming, and how to release its grip. Use mindfulness techniques to quiet mental chatter. Shift your perspective on worry and fear. Find joy in the present instead of waiting for someday. Stress isn't the enemy, it's a signal. It's reminding you to slow down, to breathe, to reconnect with the present moment. Because happiness isn't about escaping life. It's about learning how to experience it fully. If you've ever felt trapped by your thoughts, weighed down by worries, this might be the shift you need. So stay with me, and if this message resonates, take a moment to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Life Lessons. Because finding peace isn't about avoiding life, it's about learning how to live it. Section 1. Why do we struggle with stress? Understanding the cycle and finding relief. The weight of everyday stress. Stress isn't just an emotion, it's a cycle that repeats itself, growing heavier with each layer we add. It starts small, maybe a missed deadline or an unexpected expense, but then it builds. One worry leads to another, and before long, stress feels like something we carry everywhere, unable to set down. But here's the question: why does stress feel so overwhelming? Science tells us that stress is deeply wired into our biology. It's our body's survival instinct, preparing us for danger. In ancient times, this response helped us escape predators and react to immediate threats. But today, stress doesn't come from wild animals, it comes from overflowing inboxes, financial uncertainty, and pressure that never seems to stop. And when stress lingers without relief, it wears down both our mental and physical health, leading to exhaustion, anxiety, and even chronic illness. Have you ever felt like no matter how much you try to relax, your mind won't let go? The Buddhist perspective on stress, attachment and resistance. In Buddhism, stress isn't seen as an enemy, it's seen as a result of attachment and resistance. We attach ourselves to expectations, outcomes, and control. We resist discomfort, change, and uncertainty. And in this resistance, we create more suffering. Think of stress like waves in the ocean. When we fight the waves, trying to hold them back, we exhaust ourselves. But when we learn to float, to move with the tide instead of against it, we discover a sense of calm even within movement. Could you, just for a moment, accept the presence of stress without fighting it? How mindfulness breaks the cycle. Stress feels suffocating because we let it take over. But mindfulness teaches something different. You don't need to get rid of stress, you just need to create space around it. Imagine sitting by a river, watching leaves float by. Each leaf represents a worry, a frustration, an obligation. Normally, you might grab onto a leaf, turning it over in your hands, examining it endlessly. But what if, instead, you let it drift past? This is mindfulness. It's the practice of observing stress without attachment, seeing it for what it is but refusing to let it define your entire experience. Wouldn't life feel lighter if you didn't have to carry every worry with you? A simple practice to shift your mindset. Try this. 1. Pause for a moment and take a deep breath. 2. Notice your stress. Don't judge it, just observe it. 3. Picture each worry as a cloud in the sky. Watch it pass, knowing it won't stay forever. 4. Return to your breath, grounding yourself in the present. Mindfulness doesn't erase stress, but it transforms how we experience it. And when we stop resisting, we start discovering a quiet strength within ourselves. Soft transition to the next section. We've explored why stress feels so overwhelming and how mindfulness can create space for relief. But now, let's go deeper. What does Buddhism teach about stress itself? What happens when we stop seeing stress as a burden and instead recognize it as part of life's flow? Section 2. The Buddhist perspective on stress, observing without attachment. Stress doesn't cause suffering, attachment does. Stress isn't just about the demands of life, it's about how we interact with them. Buddhism teaches that suffering doesn't come from stress itself but from our attachment to it. We hold on to frustration, replay worries, resist discomfort, and fight against things we cannot change. And in that struggle, we create more suffering. But what if you didn't have to fight? What if, instead of wrestling with stress, you could observe it, without letting it consume you? Imagine your mind as a still lake. When stress arrives, it sends ripples across the surface, distorting the reflection. But if you let those ripples settle, if you stop resisting, the water naturally returns to calm. Your mind is the same. Peace isn't about eliminating stress. It's about learning to let it pass. The science of stress, why we hold on. Modern psychology tells us that stress is a survival mechanism, our body's way of responding to perceived threats. When we experience anxiety, our brain signals danger, activating the fight or flight response. The problem? In daily life, we're not running from wild animals, we're reacting to emails, deadlines, and future worries. The brain wants certainty, so when stress arises, we cling to thoughts that analyze, control, and predict. But instead of solving the problem, this cycle keeps us trapped, forcing us to relive stressful situations over and over. Buddhism offers a different approach, non-attachment. Instead of engaging with every worry, it teaches us to observe, without reacting. To see thoughts as passing clouds rather than absolute truths. And in this practice, stress loses its grip. The power of mindful observation. What happens if you simply notice stress, without judgment? Without resistance? Try this. 1. Close your eyes and take a slow, deep breath. 2. Notice your stress. Where do you feel it? In your chest. Your shoulders. 3. Now, imagine each stressful thought as a leaf floating down a stream. You don't need to chase it. You don't need to stop it. Just watch it drift away. 4. Return to the present moment. Feel the breath in your body. Notice the sensations of being here, now. This technique teaches the mind to step back rather than engage, breaking the cycle of attachment. And when practiced regularly, it shifts how we experience stress, not as an enemy, but as something we can witness without being consumed. Letting go of the need to control. Much of our stress comes from trying to control what we cannot change, other people's actions, future uncertainties, unexpected obstacles. Buddhism reminds us that the mind's greatest illusion is control. Ask yourself, is this stress helping me, or keeping me stuck? What happens if I simply observe it rather than engage? Could I trust that, like a passing storm, this too will fade? By loosening our grip on control, we allow peace to enter where resistance once stood. Soft transition to the next section. We've explored the Buddhist approach to stress and how observation can release attachment. But mindfulness alone isn't enough, it must be practiced. How can we apply these teachings in daily life? Let's explore practical mindfulness techniques that bring lasting relief. Section 3. Practical mindfulness techniques for stress relief. Stress is inevitable, but struggle is optional. Stress is a part of life. Deadlines, uncertainty, responsibilities, they all come and go. But suffering doesn't come from stress itself, it comes from how we respond to it. Buddhism teaches that stress intensifies when we cling to it, when we grip onto frustration, replay worries, and resist discomfort. The more we hold on, the heavier it feels. But what if, instead of fighting stress, we learn to observe it, without judgment, without attachment? Mindfulness offers this shift. It doesn't erase stress, but it changes your relationship with it, allowing you to experience life with more clarity and ease. The science behind mindfulness, why it works. From a neurological perspective, stress activates the amygdala, the brain's survival center. It heightens anxiety, speeds up the heart rate, and pushes us into fight or flight mode. But mindfulness, paying attention to the present moment, activates the prefrontal cortex, calming the mind and reducing emotional reactivity. Studies show that just 10 minutes of mindfulness a day can lower stress hormone levels, improve focus, and enhance emotional resilience. The more we practice, the easier it becomes to break free from the cycle of stress. This isn't about ignoring stress, it's about learning how to be with it, rather than be consumed by it. Mindfulness in action, the power of breath. The simplest way to begin mindfulness. Your breath. Try this. 1. Take a slow, deep breath in. Feel the air fill your lungs. 2. Hold it for a moment. Allow a pause, a space of stillness. 3. Exhale slowly, releasing tension. Imagine stress leaving with the breath. Now, take another breath. This time, visualize placing your worries onto a floating leaf, watching it drift away. See it moving with the current, away from you, beyond your grasp. Buddhism teaches that we suffer because we hold on too tightly to our thoughts, our fears, our expectations. But when we practice release, even for a moment, peace has space to enter. Could you, just for this moment, let go? Everyday mindfulness techniques for stress relief. Mindfulness isn't complicated, it's about choosing presence in daily life. Here's how you can integrate it seamlessly. Morning awareness. Before reaching for your phone, take a few deep breaths. Start the day grounded, not reactive. Mindful pauses. Between tasks, pause. Feel your breath, observe your surroundings. Even 30 seconds of awareness resets the mind. Mindful eating. Instead of rushing, taste each bite, feel the texture, appreciate the experience. Breath awareness in moments of stress. When frustration rises, take one intentional breath. This single action can shift your entire reaction. These small moments train the brain to step out of stress instead of spiral deeper into it. Letting go, the key to true peace. We often believe we need to fix stress, to solve every worry before we can feel calm. But Buddhism offers a different truth. Peace isn't found in solving every problem, it's found in learning to let go. Ask yourself, what if I stopped chasing control and started trusting life's flow? Could I find peace in simply being present? What happens if I stop overanalyzing and just breathe? The present moment is always here, waiting. All we have to do is return to it. Soft transition to the next section. We've explored how mindfulness can shift our experience of stress, but there's something deeper, the nature of change itself. Buddhism teaches that impermanence is the key to true inner freedom, because when we understand that nothing lasts forever, we stop clinging to things that were never meant to be held. Let's explore that next. Section 4. The power of the present moment, finding peace in being here, now. Why we struggle to be present. Stress often pulls us in two directions, backward into the past or forward into the future. We replay regrets, wishing things had gone differently, or we project worries onto tomorrow, fearing uncertainty. But in this endless cycle of overthinking, we forget something essential. The only moment that truly exists is now. Buddhism teaches that presence is the key to peace. Not because the present is perfect, but because it's real. The past no longer exists, and the future is only imagined, but this moment, it's here, waiting for you to experience it. Yet, we resist. We tell ourselves, I'll be happy when, or once I fix this, I'll finally relax. But what if happiness isn't in the future? What if it's in learning to live fully, right now? The science behind presence, how it changes your brain. From a neurological perspective, being present reduces stress and anxiety. Studies show that mindfulness strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for focus, emotional regulation, and inner calm. When we train ourselves to return to the moment, whether through breath, awareness, or meditation, we shift brain activity away from survival mode thinking and into clarity. This is why Buddhist mindfulness practices are so powerful. They don't just offer a philosophical idea, they rewire the brain for peace. A story of presence, learning to see what's already here. Imagine you're sitting by the ocean, watching the waves. They rise, they fall, they crash against the shore, but you don't try to control them. You simply watch. Now, imagine treating your thoughts the same way. Instead of chasing them, instead of drowning in worries, you simply observe. You don't have to grab onto every thought. You don't have to fix every problem. Could you, just for this moment, allow your mind to be like the ocean, moving, flowing, but always returning to calm? Mindfulness techniques for everyday presence. How do we practice presence in daily life? Buddhism teaches simple but profound ways to return to the moment. 1. Mindful breathing. Take a deep breath. Feel the air enter your lungs. Let it go, releasing tension. Repeat. Your breath is your anchor to now. 2. Sensory awareness. Notice one thing around you, the texture of your clothes, the sound of the wind, the scent in the air. These details ground you in reality. 3. Thought observation. Instead of engaging with every thought, watch them like passing clouds. No need to analyze, just let them drift. 4. Gratitude for small moments, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of laughter, the taste of coffee. Happiness is already here, in the simplest things. These practices aren't difficult. They just require noticing what's already happening. Letting go of time, why presence creates inner peace. One of the greatest causes of suffering is attachment to time, believing happiness will come later, or regretting that we've lost something in the past. But Buddhism reminds us that life is not something we wait for, it's something we live. What would happen if, instead of chasing the future, you embraced the present? Ask yourself, am I truly here, or lost in thought? What happens if I slow down and experience this moment fully? Could I, just for now, let go of control and simply be? Presence is the gateway to peace. And the best part? It's always available. Soft transition to the next section. We've explored why presence matters and how mindfulness can bring us back to the now. But what happens when we truly embrace the flow of life, rather than trying to hold on to things that are meant to change? Let's explore impermanence, the Buddhist key to lasting peace. Section 5. Releasing stress and embracing calm, the art of letting go. Why do we hold on to stress? Stress isn't just about external pressures, it's about how tightly we hold on to them. We replay frustrations, overanalyze situations, and grip onto the discomfort of uncertainty, believing that if we just think hard enough, we'll find control. But Buddhism teaches us something different. Peace isn't found in control, it's found in letting go. Think about waves crashing onto the shore. The ocean doesn't resist them, nor does it try to hold on to a single wave. It allows them to rise, fall, and disappear naturally. What would happen if we treated stress the same way? The science behind letting go. From a neurological standpoint, stress activates the amygdala, the brain's fear center, which keeps us stuck in a loop of overthinking. Studies show that letting go, practicing acceptance and mindfulness, shifts brain activity toward the prefrontal cortex, the center of rational thought and calm decision-making. In short, the more we release stress, the more space we create for clarity. Buddhism teaches this same principle through non-attachment, observing thoughts and emotions without clinging to them. When we stop fighting stress, we discover that it loses its grip on us naturally. A mindfulness practice, letting go in the moment. Try this. 1. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. 2. Notice any tension in your body. Where do you feel stress? 3. Now, visualize placing that stress onto a floating leaf. Imagine it drifting away down a stream, effortlessly carried by the current. 4. Say to yourself, I do not need to carry this. 5. Return to your breath, feeling the lightness in your body. Each time you practice this, you teach your mind how to release stress instead of holding on to it. Shifting your mindset, flowing instead of resisting. We often believe we must fight stress to overcome it, but resistance only makes it stronger. Buddhism teaches that life is like a river, always moving, always changing. Holding on to stress is like trying to stop the flow, it only exhausts us. Ask yourself, what if I stopped resisting and started flowing with life? Could I, just for today, trust that stress will pass on its own? What happens if I let go, even for a moment? The truth is, you don't need to force peace. Peace arrives when you stop clinging. Soft transition to the conclusion. We've explored how stress loses power when we release it. But mindfulness isn't just about understanding, it's about practice. What would happen if, starting today, you let go just a little more? Let's reflect on that as we conclude. Final reflection, bringing mindfulness into everyday life. Mindfulness isn't something you check off a to-do list, it's something you return to, again and again. Every time you pause to breathe, every moment you choose awareness over distraction, you take one step closer to a calmer, more grounded version of yourself. Throughout this video, we've explored how stress works, why we struggle with it, and how Buddhist mindfulness techniques can help us release what weighs us down. But knowledge alone isn't enough, it's in the practice that transformation happens. So, as you step away from this video and return to the flow of your day, I invite you to reflect. What insight resonated with you most? How can you bring even one small act of mindfulness into your routine? Could you take just a moment today to simply be, without rushing to the next thing? The path to peace isn't about perfection. It's about choosing presence, moment by moment. And the best part? You don't have to do it alone. If this message spoke to you, let's continue the journey together. Like, comment, and share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear how mindfulness shows up in your life. And if you'd like to explore more insights on Buddhism, self-growth, and inner peace, subscribe to Life Lessons. Because peace is a journey, and we're all on it together.